The Galactic Council chambers fell silent as Ambassador Keth of the Vorthic Empire delivered his final ultimatum to the human delegation. The massive crystalline hall, built to accommodate dozens of alien species, seemed to dwarf the small group of humans sitting in the furthest corner, a deliberate insult that had not gone unnoticed. "The verdict is unanimous," Keth announced, his forearms spread wide in a gesture of absolute authority. "Humanity will cease all expansion beyond the Sol system. Your species will remain in quarantine until the Council deems you suitable for galactic civilization." Captain James Wright, the human ambassador, remained perfectly still. His weathered face betrayed nothing, though his knuckles had turned white where they gripped the edge of the table. Around him, representatives from 47 different species watched with varying degrees of amusement and disdain. "You cannot be serious," Wright said quietly. "We have committed no crimes. We have honored every treaty, every agreement." "We have. You have what?" The hegemony representative, a tall reptilian creature named Voss, interrupted with a hissing laugh. "You have existed for barely a century in space, and already you spread like a plague. Your species breeds too quickly, consumes too much, and asks too many questions." Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. Wright looked around desperately, searching for even one ally among the assembled delegates. He found none. "The quarantine begins immediately," Keth continued. "Any human vessel found beyond your solar system will be destroyed without warning. Your colonies on Proxima Centauri and Kepler 442b will be evacuated within 1 standard year. This is not a negotiation." Wright stood slowly, his uniform crisp despite the weight of defeat pressing down on his shoulders. "You are making a mistake," he said, his voice carrying across the vast chamber. "Humanity has always been at its most dangerous when backed into a corner." The alien delegates laughed a cacophony of sounds that seemed to mock the very idea of human resistance. What could one small species do against the combined might of the galaxy? 3 months later, the first reports began filtering in from the outer rim territories. Ships were going missing, not just any ships, but specifically those belonging to the species that had voted for human quarantine. The disappearances followed a pattern. Vessels would simply vanish from sensor readings, leaving behind only debris fields and distress signals that cut off mid-transmission. The Council initially dismissed these incidents as pirates or rogue elements. The galaxy was vast, and ships went missing all the time. But as the weeks turned to months, the pattern became impossible to ignore. Every missing vessel belonged to a Council member species. Every attack occurred in strategically important locations, and every debris field contained the same calling card, a simple message, broadcast on all frequencies in perfect galactic standard: "Remember Sol." Admiral Voss was the first to encounter the source of these attacks directly. His flagship, the Crimson Talon, was conducting a routine patrol near the Andorian trade routes when sensors detected an unknown vessel approaching at impossible speed. The ship that appeared on their screens defied everything they knew about human technology. It was massive, easily 3 times the size of the Talon, and its hull seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. Strange geometries covered its surface, and energy readings suggested power output levels that should have been impossible for human engineering. "Unknown vessel," Voss transmitted, his voice steady despite the cold fear creeping up his spine. "You are in violation of galactic Council space. Identify yourself immediately." The response came not as words, but as action. The human warship, for that's what it had to be, opened fire, with weapons that tore through the Talon's shields as if they were paper. The attack lasted exactly 30 seconds. When it ended, the Crimson Talon was a drifting wreck, its crew barely alive and its systems failing. As rescue ships arrived, they found the human vessel had vanished, leaving behind only that same message, "Remember Sol." The reports flooded in from across the galaxy. The human ship, which intelligence analysts had designated Nemesis, was striking with surgical precision. It never attacked civilian targets, never harmed non-council species, and never stayed in one location long enough to be cornered. But wherever it appeared, council military assets were left in ruins. The most disturbing aspect was the technology itself. Human ships had been primitive compared to galactic standards: fusion drives, kinetic weapons, basic deflector shields. But Nemesis displayed capabilities that surpassed even the most advanced council vessels. Its weapons could punch through any known armor. Its shields absorbed incoming fire with contemptuous ease, and its propulsion system allowed it to appear and disappear at will. How? Ambassador Keth demanded during an emergency council session. How did they advance so quickly? The answer came from an unexpected source. Dr. Elena Martinez, a human xenobiologist who had been studying on the neutral world of Haven, requested permission to address the council. Her message was simple and terrifying. "You thought you were quarantining us," she said, her image flickering on the chamber's main display. "But you were wrong. You were quarantining yourselves from us. Every species that voted for isolation has been marked. Every ship that enforces your blockade has been catalogued. And every act of aggression against human interests has been recorded." She paused, letting the implications sink in. "Nemesis isn't just a warship," she continued. "It's a promise. Humanity will not be caged. We will not be silenced. And we will not forget those who tried to chain us to our cradle." The transmission ended, leaving the council in stunned silence. Outside, in the cold depths of space, Nemesis continued its relentless campaign. Each attack was a reminder that humanity, when pushed to the breaking point, had chosen not to break, but to push back. The galaxy had expected humanity to stay silent. Instead, they had created their own voice, one that spoke in the language of justice and revenge, echoing through the void with a simple, terrifying message: "Remember Sol."